Okay, so we got the temporary upside that we were looking for on GTII. Let's go ahead and look at the potentials for the following days. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ARCa coming at you with a GTII technicals, raw price action, and statistical threat of analysis on this Thursday. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, you guys, so we're looking at GTII on the 3-day chart here. And this is the chart where we were talking about that potential resistance level anywhere between this range here. That was 103 to about 107. The candle actually came up to about that high of 104, and we got that retracement, right? So this is what we said, right? We were talking about the potential upside coming in, but since we were looking at resistance on some upper time frame RSIs, the relative strength index indicators, these right over here, then that's how we were able to see that we would face a potential resistance soon enough. Okay, so let's just go ahead and move on to the next chart and see what we have. Okay, so this is the 3-day volatility versus momentum backtest or profile that we've been looking at for some time, right? So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we are following the stochastic momentum oscillator, right? And we want to see essentially these moves, right? So I drew these quite a bit ago just so that we can kind of keep in track, right? So you can see that the line is drawn here, and we drew it when this was around this place right here, right? So this is our implied projections, and we're still getting kind of the around the same area that we're going, right? So we want to start basing and we want to start correcting. But if it is up to the line that I'm talking about here, then we could face a little bit further of a downside here. Remember, it is the 3-day time frame, so it does take some patience, and it is kind of they are kind of large moves, right? When you are looking at a 3-day time frame like this. Okay, so this slight downside pressure here, paired with increasing volatility moving upside of the moving average, that's it's very likely for us to find yet again another downside before continuing. Okay, so we need to find that floor first, and it shows in the charts. It shows in momentum that GTII is actively trying to do that. Okay, and now let's move on to the next one right over here. And I wanted to touch down on the fact that we already have our monthly closure that happened yesterday, right? And we were talking about the likelihood of seeing the results of the monthly closure either today or Friday, right? So we actually got it right. We have a fresh new month starting right here. And since the monthly closure, this is kind of a bit of a warning here, right? So since the closure of the monthly closed at, let's see, we can actually see it right over here, right? So you're going to take a look at the letter C for closure, right? When we hover over it, so you can see that it's 99 cents, right? So that's it's not the worst news in the world, but it is a little bit of a bearish statement considering this closure, right? So, but yet again, it's what I do have to point out here is that in raw price action, it's essentially just making yet another higher low, right? So it's not that big of a deal. But if we are pulling up this actually, I'm not going to pull up the variant. I'm going to pull up the Gaussian channel that for some reason is not showing anymore, right? So let me just go ahead and try. Oh, right, it's this right here. My apologies. Okay, so if we are looking at the Gaussian channel here, I would like to point out a couple things. First of all, we noticed that we were in a descending channel, right, on the monthly. This was a couple weeks ago, and I'm trying to keep an eye on this, but also I kind of have to practice patience because we're within one candle for every month, right? So now that we got that closure, I can come back to this chart and take a look at a couple things, right? So we have increasing volatility here, meaning that there are more shares being traded on average on the monthly read. And that paired with a slight downside on stochastic momentum can indicate a potential continuation to the way down. And it's not to say that it's going to fail. It's just to say that it may have to find some type of other base. Okay, so first of all, we do have some critical support, remember, between the area of about 84.78 to about 86.91. Okay, that's a very important support to to kind of keep an eye on, right? It has a lot of confluence. It is very similar to the opening of this candle, to the opening of this candle here, to the wick low of this candle, and you know, most recently, the last month, right, the wick low of this candle. So that support range is something that if broken, then we have a very important area to look out for. And that area is not just any area. It is the mean band from the Gaussian channel, and also it's the support or the newly converted resistance from the channel into a support, right? So that would be a very incredible thing to kind of fulfill there, as we would very likely bounce from the confluence between this Gaussian channel and the channel bottom and the channel top, right? And that could, I mean, there is a lot there is a lot to look out for there, right? And this is the reason why I have these areas here, you guys, is just on a monthly time frame. I would like to kind of draw in the most relevant areas of demand versus supply, right? So it's the area of demand paired with the top side invalidation of the support line from the channel, paired with with the Gaussian channel mean band. All of that stuff is just you know, it kind of calls for an upside when you do reach targets like that. So let's go ahead and start validating what that potential could be, right? And for that, we're going to look at the RSI, just like we always do in the immediate short term, starting from the immediate short term time frame, right? So in this case, we're going to look at the 30-minute time frame, and you can see here that we have a downside pivot. Remember that it lives out pretty fast. The 30-minute time frame, I mean, they don't tend to take forever, but when you start getting a very strong downside from the shorter time frames, the shorter time frame is likely to cascade into the larger one, right? So in this case, this would be the bi-hourly, and you can see here that we're making a bearish cross, right? We're getting the read below the 14-day simple moving average and a continuation of it. Okay, now as we start to get into the 6 hour, however, you can see here that we have a support coming up, and it's not only the 14-day simple moving average represented by the